What's up, friends? I'm back. It's DJ Montague. Welcome back to a new video. We're doing a little review on the closed beta test for Swords of Legends Online. It was the first open/closed. You had to get a key, but kind of closed, I guess you could say, since they were just throwing out keys left and right. Beta test. But let's get into it after the jump. That's what I'm gonna do every time, so that I put a little intro in there. All right, so what we're gonna do today is we're gonna talk about 5 categories, I'd say. Leveling and story, endgame, PvP, classes, and the cash shop. So let's get right into it. Starting with leveling and story. Leveling/story. We'll go there. The leveling experience as a whole, pretty linear in general, not a whole lot going on, and that's mostly because of the translation. It's really hard to understand what is going on because I think it's computer translated, and the dialogue in the background is in Mandarin or Chinese, or I'm not actually sure the full dialect, but it's still difficult to really follow, and that's kind of unfortunate because from what I can gather, the storyline's not bad. You know, there's a lot going on, a lot of different characters, a lot of moving parts, and in general, you're going after the antagonist who was a friend of yours and then murders his wife or something like that. And so I was like, oh, this got a little wild out of nowhere, and some stranger sword or something like that. But in general, very linear, very hard to follow the storyline, and the leveling process is just the basic theme park questing. Do all quests in this zone, follow storyline, go to next zone, do more quests in this zone. And so it's, you know, pretty chill. But in the process, you learn a lot about your character, your build, and how to play your characters optimally. You get your passives, you get all that stuff. And it's pretty fun once you start getting into the better parts of the game and learning with more than just like 2 or 3 skills at your first few levels. Like, it's really fun to just like smash down a bunch of mobs real quick and then move on to the next pack, because there's really not a whole lot of downtime, and you don't really need a whole lot of downtime. And if you do need downtime, it's really quick to meditate and just get right back up and get to it. Travel and stuff like that's pretty simple. They give you a mount early, and you have flying, so it's like you just zip wherever you need. So I like it. I like also that they give you flying early in these zones, because they are gorgeous. Like, everything about the game is very pretty, and so like you could just get that elevated look over the landscape in the zone that you're questing in. So I think that's really cool. And so now that we've talked about leveling and story, we're gonna get into endgame. So max level currently in the game of the closed beta test is 37, also known as Student 1. Once you get to level 36, you get 100% of your experience. You go back to your class's home area. You level up to level 37 with some like quest line where they say like you're ready, and you get an ultimate, so to speak. And it's kind of poorly translated when you get your ultimate, but to tell you guys how it works here, so there's no confusion, there is a yellow bar on bosses and certain mobs' health. Once that yellow health is depleted, that's a little small yellow bar, you knock the enemy down, and then you could do your ultimate on them, and it goes in a cinematic, and you like whatever your character does. It's pretty cool, but it doesn't really work in PvP from what I've seen so far. Don't quote me on that, but I have not seen people use their ultimates like that in PvP, because it does a lot of damage. But in the end game, you have dungeons, which are going to take up most of your end game time. You can get into crafting a little bit more, and the game kind of really unlocks. Everything is available to you: PvP, the end game PvE, the crafting, the just general game becomes more open. It feels very linear until the end game, and then you can go do your housing, you can go do all this other stuff that you want to, you know, kind of really do in a what's the word I'm looking for? In a theme park MMO. Oh, go me. Rain. Anyways, so I like that fact because leveling doesn't take that long. Maybe 7-8 hours if you just want to bang it out real quick, you know, you just sweep through it. I know that may seem like a lot of time for some other people, but for a guy like me, obviously that's just like a day of playing. So if I wanted to make an alt, I could totally do that. And the only thing they really have gated is you can get loot from each PvE dungeon so far once a day, and then your hard mode for each dungeon is once a week. So if you wanted to like power through it, you can get geared pretty quickly, decently. So I like the system so far. So far, the only really confusing system is the crafting system, which I mean, it's just so foreign, I guess, to me. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna go search for iron and wood and then learn how to make like a hilt and a sword. It's like you get, it's just weird. It's hard to explain. I'll do a whole nother video on crafting another time. I just wanted to get my thoughts down on this video on what's going on in the closed beta and the next closed beta, which starts on June 1st, which I will be playing. So the next thing I wanted to get into was PvP. And the difference between early game PvP, which is non-existent almost, and end game PvP. If you're playing with friends and you're PvPers, you want to learn. You want to learn what you're getting into, right? So you will duel someone, you'll duel a friend in the early game. And I will highly recommend avoiding that, because all you're doing is kind of ruining the experience for you and giving yourself a false taste of what the end game PvP is like, what the actual PvP is like. Dueling your friend in a random zone in the middle of nowhere is not gonna do anything for you. And I'll tell you why. It's like two turrets shooting at each other, and you just do damage until someone falls over in early game PvP. You're not doing a whole lot, and you're just kind of like hitting each other until someone falls over. Whereas late game PvP, there are so many choices, active choices that you have to make in PvP. When do I dodge? When do I use my CC breaks? When do I use my CC in general? Is this person immune to CC? Because there's a lot going on and you can kill somebody pretty quickly. I would say if you wanted to kill somebody from 100 to 0, you can do so in about 6 seconds, which in a game like this may seem like a decent amount of time, because we've all come from like games like World of Warcraft and currently Shadowlands. You can kill somebody in a global, which is a 1.5 seconds, but those are not that rare of occurrences, but I digress. Anyways, in this game, I would say like on average, you can kill somebody in about 6 seconds. And in that time, there are long CCs and long CC chains. So the trinket cooldown that you have, your CC break, they're pretty short. And movement is super key. And so far I've had like a blast playing PvP, doing solo arenas and just like queuing up with random people, going in and just had a great time. 3 DPS comps are decent. 2 DPS, 1 healer comps are good too. It's like you can kind of, so far, because we don't know the meta, we don't know how the game is going to shake out, there's a lot you can do, and I mean, I'm really excited about it. There's not a whole lot of ton of information out there of like optimal build paths, but then again, I'll get into the classes in the next section and talk about builds and a little bit of the diversity. But in general, it's player skill is what it seems like for PvP so far. I did a lot of duels in towns and did a lot of duels with people. I had an arena game where I played with MMO Byte, and if you guys don't know, MMO Byte is a MMO streamer and YouTuber. He's great. You should go follow him. Him and Mrs. Sticks are fantastic. Always watch their stuff when it comes out. Really good content creators. Also, Kira was playing. Go follow Kira because he's fantastic. I think Kira's an absolute legend. But yeah, PvP all in all, had a chance with the arenas. I had a chance with the battlefields, and duels, and so far, I think it's fantastic. I think it's super good, and it's accessible for people that like WoW PvP, and it's accessible for people that like more action-oriented PvP like Elyon. CC is crucial and decently prevalent, but it's not as bad as World of Warcraft, where you don't feel like you're playing the game. Like, you have to make active choices constantly. And like I said, your trinket is a lot shorter cooldown than World of Warcraft, where it's 2 minutes, and CCs are like 10 seconds long, or some CC chains can be up to 20 seconds of you just not playing the game, and that's not fun to me. I want to make choices, and so far this game lets me make choices. I think that's awesome. Next, we'll get into classes. Talk about the classes in general. And so far, we've got 6 classes in our current client. Now, there are 9 classes in the Chinese client currently, so we're missing out on a few classes. Fox Mage, Warrior, and then there's another one that I think it's an Archer class, I forget. But we've still got a lot of diversity. Each class has 2 specs. For PvP, tanks are not allowed in PvP currently. I don't think they'll ever move that, because tanks they don't do any damage, they just soak damage, and there's no way to like make somebody attack you. So I don't really need tanks to be in PvP so far. But every class is extremely different from the others. Reapers being the rogue/assassin on their DPS class, and being able to be a support and a healer in their other spec is really cool. And I think that's like, they nailed it. They nailed it with it, and the diversity of the classes. Spearmaster and Berserker both can play tank, and then they can both play DPS as well. And their DPS styles are widely different. Spearmaster, very simple, very straightforward, very concise to the point. Berserker is very expanded, I guess you could say. Like, there's a lot you can do to optimize damage with Berserker. It's not as easy. Very much like a high skill ceiling class, which I think for PvP, so awesome. Like, I love high skill ceiling classes in games like this. Spell Sword has both a ranged and melee DPS. I preferred playing Spell Sword myself. I played a little bit of Berserker, I played a very little bit of Reaper, but Spell Sword's ranged class is what I played the most, which is Sword Artist, I think is what it's called. The other one's Blade Storm. Sword Artist was a huge thumbs up for me. Like, playing it early, I was like, oh man, this seems kind of weird and funky, and I don't know if I'm down with this. The more I got into it, the more I really really kind of theory crafted and understood what they had set this class up to do. I was like on board, total thumbs up, had a blast playing it, felt really good playing it in PvE and PvP. And all the choices that I felt like I was making in fights were like, if I lost a fight, it was because I played poorly, or I didn't see something coming, or, you know, and that's a good feeling to have. Losing because of my own inability is something that I want. Like, if there's like tons of outplay potential and I do so, like I can 2v1, that's awesome. That's a great feeling, you know? So all in all, so far in what I'm talking about with class diversity, awesome. You have Bard and Summoner, which I didn't touch very much. But so far, I had a friend that did play Bard, and he said it was kind of fun, but not as fun as it could be. Bard in general is very much, like I said earlier, with turrets, about like dueling. I was dueling against my friend that was a Bard, and he just stood there and like plugged away. And other Bards that I had fought in PvP and in arenas and battlefields, they would stand there in like a big AoE circle. I'm not sure what the skill was, but they would like shoot lightning down on the ground and then like just like blow you up, and they could blow you up very quickly if you weren't paying attention to what was going on. Summoners weren't really seen a lot, from me at least. I saw a few in arenas, and Battlegrounds, but it wasn't really, I was blown away by any of them. But Bard, I was. I noticed that Bard could heal forever if 2 people weren't swinging on the Bard. So it's good to also see is that healers can survive for quite a long time, and if you're very efficient with your resources, you can heal for pretty much forever. So I want to see that high skill cap play, and I want to see like the outplay potential that this game has. I'm really looking forward to it. The class diversity is great. The fun factor is there. Me as a like a PvE storyline person, I want more to understand from the storyline, but as a predominantly PvP person, a fighting game background, I really like this game so far. And the cash shop, what everybody kind of is here to talk about. We're worried. It's an Eastern game, and we're a Western audience. We've got a lot of stuff riding on the info that came out from New World. All these new MMOs seem like they're trying to get a piece of the pie. They're just trying to take what's in your wallet. And this game seems to really respect your wallet. And I think that's such a great factor. There's a lot of PvE gear sets and the transmog system. You can get your cosmetics from the cash shop, or you can get them from PvE, and the PvE cosmetics look awesome, like really awesome. So like specific dungeon sets and stuff like that. And then the cosmetics in the cosmetics in the cash shop look incredible as well. There was a bunch of cosmetics that I ended up purchasing that because I wanted to check it out and see what they looked like on my character. They look great. The only downside that I have is that character customization is limited because they sell the hairstyles, the cosmetics in the cash shop. But other than that, there's no gear boosts. There's no way to like directly affect your gear at all in the cash shop. And so like huge thumbs up to them. So far in China, that has been the sentiment as well. Do not affect gameplay through the cash shop. And so if that's the case, this game will have a great niche community that really just loves it for what it is. You've got games out currently that are looking like they just want to take your money. Arc-Age, New World, and unfortunately to say, Elyon, because I'm a huge proponent of wanting to play Elyon. I'm like all about that game as well. I love the PvP in Elyon, don't get me wrong, and I'm going to play it. But this game looks like it really respects your time and your wallet. So I'm really stoked on it. So far, had a blast playing it. I've been telling everybody I can about it, and that's why I'm making this video. Go check out Swords of Legends online. It's super fun. If you want to get more into the storyline, they are working on more of a translation and better translation for the Western audience. So that's something to look forward to. The PvP is great. The PvE content, I'm not a big PvEer, so I can't be like, oh yeah, it's super great. Like everything's fantastic. I did a few dungeons. I had a good time. Like, what more do you want, you know? Play with your friends. Get your friends into the game, and hopefully this game respects their time and continues to be like a shining light for what MMOs can be in the West from the Eastern MMOs genres. So thank you guys for coming to hang out with me today. I know that was a little bit of a winded video, but I wanted to get a lot of my thoughts out before the closed beta test 2 that starts on the 1st. I will be playing, I will be streaming it. Twitch.tv/DJ Montague. Please come give me a follow, come hang out. I love talking to new people. It's always a great time. You come in to chat, you know, say hey here. Thank you guys so much. I will see you in the next video. Peace.